Welcome back to Mets Daily, everybody. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio. Thank you so much for your support of this first month of Mets Daily as we've surpassed 1,000 subscribers. Keep the momentum going. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button right below. It's free. And share the channel with your family and friends. Smash that thumbs up. Every thumbs up helps. Ebert and Roper, movie reviews. Smash that thumbs up and comment below how you're liking the show. Guests will begin next week. We'll get you guys involved more as well. Each week we will start experimenting with more. Now that Pete Alonso is done, and we won't have to mention his name too much more, now that he's a Met, we want to play around and do different things here on Mets Daily, and excited to make you, the viewers, be a part of the program because we are nothing without you. So we appreciate each and every one of you, whether you love me, hate me, can't stand me. If you're watching, I appreciate it. I'm a Mets fan. I'm passionate. I love this team. I've been going to games my whole life. I've got to interview all the guys in the franchise history. I've hung out with some of them. I bring my perspective to this show, and I think I have a unique perspective, and that's what I like to bring, and I'm passionate. The Mets are my favorite thing. The 2024 Mets brought me so much joy and reminded me why I love this franchise so much, and I don't get that joy from the New York Jets as a Jets fan. I mean, they don't bring me that joy. The Knicks bring me joy, but they don't bring the joy that the New York Mets do, and the joy right now is people are fired up, ready for this season to go. Whether you wanted Pete or you didn't, you're glad it's over, and now you're ready for this season because this is pretty much the roster the Mets are going to have on opening day. Like, there might be some minor depth moves, but this is pretty much it. And now we get Mets baseball, and everyone's fired up. The projections are coming out day by day, how many homers. We're going to talk about those projections today. But now's the time, where you're feeling, man, I could really, we got more snow coming this weekend. Now's the time you're thinking about, hey, maybe I should book a trip to Port St. Lucie. Maybe I should go bowling at Duffy's after a game in Port St. Lucie in March. Maybe I have to go to Met spring training. So enough of the pleasantries. Let's get into it after a couple of minutes there. Dylan Cease, I don't want to trade for him. I don't think it makes sense for the Mets to trade for a one-year rental. Another Boris client, by the way, which means you're probably not re-signing him after the year. It's going to, take a lot of money to get him. And let's be serious about Dylan Cease. Sean Manaea was as good or better than Dylan Cease last year. Dylan Cease, 33 starts, 3.47 ERA, 14-11 record, 189 in the third innings. Sean Manaea, 12-6 record, 32 starts, 181 and two-thirds innings. He was 12-6. Now, records don't mean anything anymore, but when you look at the ERA and innings pitch, I'm sorry. See, the only number Cease blows him away is the strikeouts. 224 versus Manaea's 184, but it's not about strikeouts, really. It's about show me innings pitch and your ERA. And Sean Manaea was right there, if not better than Dylan Cease. So, in my opinion, I just don't think it's worth it. If the Mets are already blowing through the luxury tax, do they want to blow through it more? Now, Cease will cost you around $14 million. I just don't think it makes a ton of sense before the season. I think you go with what you got right now, and if you got to add, you will add. Because, listen, the first 2 months of the Mets season, they were dreadful, and they still went to the playoffs. I'm not going to say the season's decided in July or you got to see where you're at the All-Star break because that's not necessarily true. But the first 2 months don't determine if the Mets are making the playoffs or not. Unless they are 25 games under 500. They were 11 games under 500 and ended up 2 wins from a pennant. So you can't tell me on Memorial Day that the Mets are cooked if they're 5 or 8 games under 500 because last year's team, while it was probably an anomaly, showed us that that's not necessarily the case. So I'd rather go in with what you got. But here's the rumored proposals online of what it would cost to maybe get Dylan Cease in a trade, and Michael King potentially available too, and that would cost a lot. But one rumored deal out there, and these are just rumors. None of this is, was said by David Stearns or, but this trade was a rumor. Dylan Cease to the Padres for Brandon Sproat, who we all know, Mets number 1 prospect, their top pitching prospect as well, and Drew Gilbert, who we know about, the Mets number 7 prospect. I don't know, man. To me, listen, Brandon Sproat, people think that he's going to be up this year. People think that he will enter the Mets rotation this year. Do you really want to give up your number 1 prospect for a guy with 1-year control? Now, Sproat was dreadful in AAA. He was dominant in AA. Maybe he just had AAA jitters. Syracuse, some guys don't perform as well as you think. I mean, look at Luis Angel Acuna. Wasn't great in AAA last year. Came up to the big leagues in a short sample size. He was great. So way too short a sample size, but I think you see that some guys do struggle a little bit in AAA, so you can't read too much into those stats, but I'd like to see Sproat a few more months in AAA, see what he's got. I'm not on Team Sproat before summer. I'm on Team Sproat if everyone else kind of fails and you need him in August. That's where I'm looking at it, Sproat. And then Drew Gilbert, a guy who people have compared to like Lenny Dykstra in terms of hard-nosed player, plays the game, as hard as anyone. I don't know if I want to give your number 1 and your number 7 prospect up for 1 year cease. I'm not a prospect hugger, but like, why trade a pitching prospect that might make the big leagues this year that's going to be cheap for 5 years for one that had similar or worse numbers than your current ace and Sean Manaea? So I just don't love it. Dylan Cease to me is not like Blake Snell. And I think you're giving up 2 top 10 prospects. You're expecting someone like a Blake Snell, not a Dylan Cease. So if they do it, I'm not going to be mad. I just don't think it's the wisest move. The Mets reportedly also turned down Sproat and Gilbert for Garrett Crochet, which definitely makes sense because as much hype as Garrett Crochet gets, who went from the White Sox to the Red Sox, Garrett Crochet hasn't pitched a lot of innings in his career. He doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt. That would have not made any sense for the Mets to take a shot at Garrett Crochet. So we'll see what happens here. Again, I think the Mets are done outside of depth moves. This would be a shot in the dark chance, but I don't know if it's worth it. We start looking at the projections of this team after Pete Alonso, and man, when you look through this lineup, you think power, 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 power. A lot of power in Queens, and they're going to be the Bash Brothers, the Bash Boys. I don't know. We got to come up with a nickname for this Mets team, but Pacoda has them now at just under 91 wins, 90.9, 1 game behind the Braves. And I think it's fair that most people, Mets fans, non-Mets fans, everyone believes that the Mets are going to surpass the Phillies in the standings. Now the question is, are they better than the Braves? I think the Braves lineup is better, and the Dodgers lineup is obviously better. But I think it's hard to argue that the Mets aren't the third best lineup in the league. And when you look at these projections, you go through the lineup, Fangraphs has Lindor 28 homers, Soto 35, Vientos 32, Alonso 35, Nimmo 17, Winker 11, Alvarez 22, McNeil 10, Series 17, and then I put the bench on their projections, Taylor 10, Marte 6, Torrance 5, Acuna 3. That gives the Mets 231 projected home runs, 24 more than last year. So that shows you, one, what Juan Soto brings, and 2, what bringing Siri in, Alvarez on a bounce back season. Remember, he only had 11 last year, so your hope is Alvarez is a 20-25 homer guy. And what's interesting is that the Mets have never had 3 30+ home run hitters. They came close last year with Lindor, Alonso, and Vientos. Vientos finished with 27. Now Vientos gets a full season. Remember, he wasn't there at the start of the year. That was drama. Why didn't he make the roster? And then he ended up taking over at third base. But, there is a good chance the Mets not only have 3, they have a good chance to have 4 30-homer hitters if Lindor is a 30-homer guy again. There's a chance your 1 through 4 hitters are all 30+ homer guys, and that is incredibly exciting if you're a Mets fan. You got to love what these numbers are showing you. And, man, if Siri gets back to being a 25-homer guy, you got that too. I mean, listen, between Wink, like I said yesterday, you have potential of every hitter, every combo, whether it's McNeil, Acuna combined, Alvarez, Torrance combined, Siri and Taylor combined, Winker and Marte combined, Nimmo and whoever Winker potentially left. Every one of these guys has the potential to combine have 25+ home runs. This is going to be the most powerful lineup in the history of the Mets franchise. That is a reason to be excited about this team. Pete Alonso, we have to mention, because Darryl Strawberry had comments that I agree with that he told MLB.com. Remember, Pete Alonso needs 26 to tie Darryl Strawberry for the all-time Mets home run record, 27 to break him. But I agree with Darryl on this, and Darryl has a ring, so he's allowed to say this. The only thing left for Pete to do now is win a World Series title. No one is going to remember if you don't win. That's the whole thing about playing in New York. It's about winning there. That's what the Mets and Pete are looking at now. All he needs to do is take this organization to the next level, and they need to win. And that's what I've told people. Pete's back now, so it's not an argument, but it's about winning. It's about winning a championship. I don't give a rat's ass about a home run record For Darryl, that home run record mattered because that's the last World Series team in 1986. Mets fans have been waiting 4 decades, and anyone my age or younger has been waiting their entire life to just wear a ring, to wear a World Series ring, to go to a parade, something that the Eagles, I'm predicting to do on Super Bowl Sunday and beating the Kansas City Chiefs. There'll be a parade 20 minutes from me here in Philly. We want a parade in Manhattan down the Canyon of Heroes. And for Pete to really be a legacy Met, like I'm seeing the videos and him with Wright, Piazza, and these guys, and I know Wright didn't win, but he did make a World Series. I got to see the Mets make a World Series and hopefully win one here. And that'll make Pete a true legacy Met. Him breaking all the home run records, he's had a nice career. I want a winner. I want a championship. And it takes 26 to 40 guys to get you there. But they need Pete at prime Pete form if they want to get there. And I'm looking forward to seeing this lineup and seeing him hit with the likes of Lindor, Soto, and now in a more established Vientos. This could be special. You know, we're less than a week away from pitchers and catcher. We're a couple of weeks from spring training games. Get hyped up. This is Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio. Subscribe to my YouTube. Smash that thumbs up below. Comment below. Would you make a trade for Dylan Cease of that projected trade? And is Straw right? Is Pete's legacy holding on to the chance of him winning a championship? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Have a great weekend, everyone. Again, Eagles, I think, win 27-24 over the Chiefs. I'm living here now, so I just have a feeling they're going to win the only time I'm living in the Philly area, they're going to win. Phillies win, so be safe. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We will be back on Monday. Hopefully we get some kind of news over the weekend. Thank you so much for watching Mets Daily. Thanks for the support. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Jake Brown Radio checking out. Thanks for watching Mets Daily.